Make sure I'm centered. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another video. So today I do not have a market vlog, but I wanted to pop in for a quick moment of reflection because I feel like I have noticed a trend this year with markets. Y'all know I try to plan my calendar at least 6 months to a year in advance so that as soon as like the calendar's open, as soon as the event calendar's open, I can grab what I want, especially the things that I know are popular, grab the dates that I want and get them locked in and go ahead and pay the fees. So I did lock in kind of the first half of my year, or the first couple of months. So I'm like booked up through June. So for the next couple of months. But I was considering doing something last minute this weekend. I've already done, our first two markets. Our first two markets are, done and wrapped up. The very first one was a great market, really busy day, lots of shoppers, people actually spending money, and it was heavy on the foot traffic. The second one was very different. And so I was like, this is peculiar. There were not a lot of vendors. There were a lot of like franchisee type shops that were selling services that were kind of out there. But there were not a lot of makers. There were not a lot of individual, small batch maker type community small businesses. I thought it was interesting. I also thought just the overall number of vendors that were represented they were not there. This market, which is usually, I want to say maybe about 50 sellers, maybe 20, 25. I don't know. I didn't even vlog it because I felt it was just slow and it just seemed weird. And then the weather was doing something strange. It was like super hot and it was very, very windy. One of my friends, her canopy broke and it was properly weighted. She had about 140 pounds of weight and it still broke. It still broke. So, this past weekend was just kind of weird. But I feel like it also is coming on the heels of what is happening with a lot of the collective type stores or retail spaces that house a lot of vendors. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with a company called, I think it's Painted Tree. The Painted Tree is a collective, and if you're familiar with collectives, it is a retail space that really allows a number of like small businesses, different kinds of makers to have their items in a brick and mortar for a monthly fee. So it's like an extended pop-up market, if you will. Painted Tree, and I think it's Painted Tree. Painted Tree has abruptly closed the majority, if not all of their locations, which this can affect, and I'm sure has affected like hundreds of handcrafted small business owners. And I think that is a significant thing, right? Because not everyone can afford like the leasing agreements or, just the ownership of your own kind of small business space, your own kind of sticks and bricks. And so companies like, or businesses like the Painted Tree or other collective type retail spaces are really important to small business owners because it gives us a space. When done correctly, it gives us a space to house our wares on shelves in a retail location, usually like in a mall or like in a strip mall or maybe in a popular walkable part of town. And it allows you to have your items on the shelf in that space. So the Painted Tree abruptly closed, and I've been seeing a number of posts of vendors that I know personally that were in a Painted Tree location somewhere, and now they're just kind of trying to figure out what to do next. And that if your situation is successful inside of the painted tree, you are immediately out of hundreds or thousands of dollars a day, a month, a week, whatever. So the other thing that I noticed is that I decided I was considering booking a market last minute for this coming weekend. And normally that's not possible. The market, because it's so popular, I know that I would be waitlisted, or I know that the date would be flagged as waitlisted only. It wasn't. And then I looked over the schedule, and none of the dates were waitlist. They were all open. They were all open, y'all. Which got me to thinking, why? Why are all these dates that are typically waitlisted available? I don't know if this these are the beginning signs of maybe vendors' extra cautiousness in vendor market spaces, or if people are just like me, making last minute decisions and they're not booking things out so far in advance because you want to make sure that you, one, can afford to pay kind of your fees and everything, and then two, that you're actually going to get your money back because people are going to shop and show up to that market. Or is this like something completely different and people are just, are makers closing up shop? Are people becoming kind of disenchanted and fearful based on the climate of everything and just, not wanting to sell anymore? I don't know. I don't have an answer. But I felt that this was just noteworthy enough to maybe see what y'all think. Like, what are y'all experiencing? Are you planning your markets in advance? Are you waiting until kind of you're ready to do something and then you're just looking for something, and if you find something available, that you like, you'll just book it if it's available, and if it's not, then, on to the next one. Or are you just like, I think I want to find a 9 to 5 and, lay this down. Like, what is the sentiment? I am curious to know what the sentiment is, because I think for me, I am not ready to throw in the towel just yet. Um, but I think my approach to markets is going to be a little more cautious, simply because I'm not interested in throwing away money to do markets. And y'all know how I feel about this. If you've been on my channel any amount of time, then you already know how I feel about, everything being a racket. And unfortunately, some of the hosts are the jankiest of used car salesmen. So it is all about beefing up how much money they make on the fees, but then the opportunity for you to grow in these spaces, it does not exist. So they're just selling you a pipe dream on these markets having heavy foot traffic and these other events are happening, but that has nothing to do with the market itself, and you just end up losing money. So, sorry. I'm on my phone today too. So I'm curious. I'm curious to know like what people are feeling, or if you're feeling anything at all, or if me even saying this is like giving you, things make me say something to think about, giving you pause as you progress in the market season, or is your calendar already booked and you're solid and you're ready to go? I am a little bit in between. Like, I want some flexibility to be able to make some adjustments. And even some of the things that I have done, some of the markets that I have done kind of every year in the past, I don't know how many years, I've noticed that the last couple of years they have not popped like they used to. And so I don't even know if I'm going to apply to some of them, even though I know that they're on the books and that the calendars are open for those events. I don't know. I'm still on the fence. I'm still on the fence. And I know that the clock is ticking because, if events come open, you only have like a short window to get your application in and everything. But, I just don't know if every event, and I've said this before, every event does not make sense if it doesn't make dollars. So, and even if it did in the past, but if I start to notice a trend in some events I have, I'm just the shoppers that we used to have, we don't have them anymore at those places. But interestingly enough, like I will see some of those, like the real people, show up at other markets. And maybe because those other markets are more engaging and they're just more fun. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I'm really like introspectively trying to wrap my arms around um, if all of these things are connected, or if it's just the start of the season and the season is just feeling slow. And that really could be what it is. I think the season could be feeling slow. Um, like I said, our opener was Shop Local, and you guys have seen that market. We love that market because it is very intentional. The people know that is going to be in that area, and they want to be there. They want to participate, and they come to spend money. They come to spend money. Um, so I don't want to just do, said this several times. I don't want to just do things and pay to be in a space. If it doesn't if the dollars don't make sense. Um, we will certainly do markets. Yeah, I'll say that. We'll do markets as we believe that they are a good business decision for us. Um, Relationships and things like that. We definitely want to continue the relationships that we have, with those that we enjoy and things like that. But I am just noticing a trend, and I'm wondering if it is kind of a foretelling of something else. I do think that there is a lot happening, and the initial impact is always to the small business community. So I am watchful and paying attention to that. And then I'm also like on the personal end changing my investment strategy because uh, I'm gonna follow them as they follow the dollars. Because yeah, I believe that there should be. And my husband reminded me that the goal is always multiple streams, not just putting everything into a stream. So, but I just wanted to pop in today and talk about that. Again, I don't have a vlog from this past weekend's market. Um, I just felt it was slow and like there was really nothing to show from that market. I'm still on the fence if I'm going to do a market this weekend. We have about 4 markets coming up in the next couple of weeks, so I really don't need to, but I'm trying to figure it out. Cause sometimes I be trying to do extra, and I'm on team too much all the time. So I did ask my husband, and he's like, we can, we're prepared to do it if we need to do it, but we might not do it. I don't know. We'll see. If I do, y'all will know. Y'all will know because I will vlog it, unless it's really slow, and then shame on me for making a bad decision. But anyway, yeah. So again, Painted Tree has closed. It's a collective. It was a collective. It really supported a lot of makers, a lot of small businesses, and so I think it was. It's sad to know that kind of that space no longer exists for the small business community. But they're not the only one. I have noticed that more and more of the collective type of retail spaces have closed. And so, what's y'all experience? If you're doing markets, if you were in a collective, how did that experience go? Would you consider that as an option if, it presented itself to you? Is this your first time hearing about like collective spaces? Let me know. So that's it. That's all I wanted to share with y'all today. Allergies is whooping me. So yeah, so that's all I wanted to say today. I hope y'all are having a great what's today? A great Monday. Have a wonderful week. I don't know if I will have anything for y'all this Thursday, so stay tuned. I don't know. I may come up with another idea and want to talk to y'all. So, all right. Like the video, drop me a comment and let me know what you think, what you're feeling, and your experience with collectives. If you have any, go ahead, share the video. And if you stayed to the end of this video and you were here all along, what are you doing? Go ahead and subscribe. You know you like me and you want us to be friends. I will talk to y'all later. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Good, kinda great. Even on the bad days, I think.